Marrying Duke Weiguo Zhao Yunyan wasn't exactly a joyous occasion. He had a beloved concubine, his understanding little childhood sweetheart. There was also a red rose who had saved his life, kept outside in some ambiguous arrangement. One accompanied his childhood, the other dazzled his youth. I comforted Mother. I won't seek true love, won't harm the concubines, and will respect myself. How could I not live well? Families with any standing in the capital were all unwilling to marry into the Zhao family. The night before the wedding, Mother held me and cried for half the night. Mother isn't just afraid these concubines won't be kind, but also fears the Marquis won't treat you sincerely. Since they all have Marquis Zhao's true heart, then Jenner won't seek true love, just the wealth and glory of the Marquis's manor. Mother, I am your daughter. How could a daughter of the Lai family be lesser than anyone else? I comforted Mother for half the night, cracked a few jokes, and only then did she stop crying. Actually, I was somewhat uneasy inside too. That Zhao Yunyan is now 30 years old. Though he hadn't married, he'd taken a beloved concubine, and there was also a mistress kept outside. That beloved concubine was his childhood sweetheart who grew up with him, gentle and understanding by nature. Their love for each other goes without saying, and they even have a 5-year-old daughter. That mistress was a matter from 3 years ago. Zhao Yunyan was provoked by someone at a tea house, and the tea house's pipa girl played beauty salves. The hero injuring her pipa, playing hand, never expecting that Zhao Yunyan was actually a marquis. The pipa girl had a bold and passionate character like a rose, saying she looked down on the wealth of marquis mansions and noble houses. Nor did she care for status. She only wanted him, Zhao Yunyan, the person. One a gentle, understanding little childhood sweetheart. One a bright and alluring red rose, splitting his heart in two. There was no place for me in Zhao Yunyan's heart anymore. Who knew that the next day during the wedding procession, the sedan bearers nearly dropped the bridal sedan. The sedan curtain swayed, lifting a corner, letting me catch sight of a figure in red upstairs. She didn't shy away from my gaze, openly and brazenly locking eyes with me. "What is the matter?" I asked from inside the sedan. "Miss, someone threw a pair of dead geese from upstairs and startled the sedan bearers." The dead geese were thrown by her. The Zhao family feared missing the auspicious hour and didn't bother arguing with that woman. During the wedding ceremony, Mother Zhao was especially pleased with this marriage she had arranged, and smoothly slid the jade bracelet. So green, it seemed to seep water, from her hand onto my wrist. Everyone chimed in, saying how well bred the Lai family's daughter was, and what good fortune she had. Until entering the bridal chamber, when it suddenly became quiet. Through the hazy red veil, I finally saw my husband, Zhao Yunyan. He picked up the balance rod, about to lift the veil. Suddenly there was an announcement from outside. Concubine Shu had chest pains and needed him to come over. Zhao Yunyan left in a hurry, not even sparing me an extra glance. The wind from the closing door made the dragon and phoenix wedding candles sway violently, and the room fell silent once more. I took off my phoenix coronet, removed my wedding dress, and picked up a few pastries to eat. My dowry maids, Dongqing and Chunming, felt indignant on my behalf. Seeing that I didn't care much, Chunming cursed a few more times, then begrudgingly made the bed for me. Sleeping alone is better, saves the young master from hogging our Mrs. Blanket. Seeing her naive words, Dongqing and I exchanged a smile. Who knew that the next day during the morning greeting and tea ceremony, after old Madame Zhao learned of this matter, she scolded Zhao Yunyan right in front of me. I hurriedly said it was I who told Zhao Yunyan to go, but unexpectedly old Madame Zhao immediately praised me for being generous and forgiving. One scolding, one praise, in Zhao Yunyan's ears. It became my scheme to feign virtuousness. Sure enough, upon leaving old Madame Zhao's Shukang Hall, Zhao Yunyan's expression instantly turned cold. Li Jenner, I never wanted to marry you at all. It was only for my mother's peace of mind. I didn't intend to mistreat you either, thinking we could just keep up appearances. Yes, you are clever. A few little tricks and you can make my mother like you. But what I despise most is scheming women like you. He showed no mercy whatsoever and stormed off with a flick of his sleeve. Prepare the sedan, to Yanglu Alley in the west of the city. Yanglu Alley in the west of the city. That was where his mistress lived. It was clear that even if he didn't go to concubine Shu's place, he still wouldn't set foot in my bedroom. Chunming was beside me, so anxious she was about to cry. Chunming, no crying in front of others. Chunming held it in the whole way, keeping her head down. Back at my Lanju pavilion, Chunming finally couldn't hold back anymore and hugged Dongqing, choking up. When has our young miss ever suffered such humiliation? The young master didn't even bother to hide it in front of so many people. He made our young miss lose face. I refuse to call him young master anymore. What kind of young master is he? Dongqing only asked me worriedly. Miss, what should we do? On the walk back just now, I had already devised a plan. While Chunming and Dongqing were talking, I had already finished writing my letter home. Dongqing, take this letter to mother. Chunming, go to the kitchen and stew 2 servings of bird's nest. Use the finest blood swallow. This marriage was arranged by old Madame Zhao's petition to the throne, done in haste, and I didn't know much about the Zhao household. The inner court is like warfare. Winning hearts comes first. Direct confrontation comes last. From chatting during my morning greetings to mother-in-law these past days, plus mother's letters, I roughly understood old Madame Zhao and Zhao Yunyan. It turned out that besides that pampered concubine and the mistress outside, Zhao Yunyan had another lifelong regret. These past few days, while Zhao Yunyan was away from home, I entered his study. I needed to know my enemy as I knew myself. Those poetry collections and invitation cards told me that deep down, Zhao Yunyan yearned to be recognized. Unfortunately, his talent was truly mediocre. Whether policy essays or romantic CI poems, none were worth mentioning. He was even inferior to my sisters in the boudoir. Flipping through, I came across an impressive piece with vigorous yet graceful handwriting. Probably written by his elder brother Zhao Yunzhang, who died young. It is said that Zhao Yunzhang attended the emperor at 14, and one classical fu he wrote earned endless praise from his majesty. Sadly, heaven envied his talent. He fell gravely ill at 20, and died without cure. In comparison, Zhao Yunyan failed the imperial examinations 3 times, and never gained his majesty's favor. When the old Marquis Zhao was alive, he once presented Zhao Yunyan's poems and fu to his majesty. But his majesty only sighed. If only he had 1/3 of his elder brother's talent, his writing wouldn't be so effeminate. Now I understand. Zhao Yunyan likes the CI poetry of Li Huzhu and Wen Feiqing, and being inferior to his brother is a thorn in Zhao Yunyan's heart. Knowing just this much is far from enough. Chunming has excellent skills. The bird's nest soup she stewed earned endless praise from old Madame Zhao. She lovingly took my hand. Jenner, having lived to this age, the thing I am most satisfied with is that Yunyan married you. I sighed inwardly and knelt down. Jenner has a request for mother. If mother scolds the Marquis in the future, please scold Jenner first. Otherwise, if mother only praises Jenner while reproaching the Marquis, it will pit Jenner and the Marquis against each other. Old Madame Zhao hurriedly helped me up. My child, how could I bear to scold you? Even if you did something wrong, it must be that others bullied you first. Mother, think about it. Isn't it that every time you scold the Marquis or punish that concubine Shu, the second master only dotes on her more? If mother keeps doing this, it will only make the Marquis and concubine Shu sympathize with each other, and resent mother even more. Old Madame Zhao even forgot to eat her bird's nest, holding the spoon and pondering for a long while. That is right. They must be bad-mouthing me together in the middle of the night. Old Madame Zhao kept praising me, then suddenly remembered something. That matter with Wu Hongshu, my child. Do you know about it? On the day of my wedding, the one who threw the dead goose at the sedan chair was his mistress. Wu Hongshu. Reportedly, she was already 1 month pregnant. Zhao Yunyan had once begged old madam to take her in as a concubine. But unexpectedly, Wu Hongshu refused, saying she only cared about Yunyan as a person and would rather stay outside without any title or status. But some time ago, for some reason, she started making a fuss again, wanting to enter the manor. Thinking of the dead goose she threw that day, and her brazenly provocative gaze, this Wu Hongshu actually did have quite a bit of that heroic spirit of swift vengeance. When old madam brought up this matter with me, I simply said, since she is not after wealth and status, this child should be the marquise's since she is willing to enter the manor. It wouldn't look good for us to push her away. After all, childbirth is dangerous, and the conditions in the manor are better. My child, you actually have such a generous heart. Once she gives birth and the bloodline is confirmed, old Madame Zhao won't refuse to acknowledge her grandchild. Just like how no matter how much old Madame Zhao dislikes concubine Shu, she wouldn't mistreat concubine Shu's 5-year-old daughter, since she is willing to enter the household. I am just doing her a favor that costs me nothing. Besides, whether she can enter the household ultimately depends on Zhao Yunyan, the head of this family. Even if I, the principal wife, were unwilling, I could only delay it by half a month or 10 days at most. In the coming half month, I have many things to do. Tormenting concubines is pointless. Less than half a month later, Wu Hongshu entered the household. When a large red sedan chair carried her in through the main gate, I saw concubine Shu Wanye, who had been having chest pains every day since I got married. She wore a pale yellow dress with a white jade hairpin, like a bundle of fresh winter jasmine. On her fair wrist was a bracelet of vivid red rosary pea beads, looking not particularly valuable. Dongqing found out that the Marquis had made it for her with his own hands when he was 14, even injuring his right hand while polishing the beads. The affection of youth never leaving her wrist day or night. But today, the usually docile and gentle Shu Wanyi couldn't keep the smile on her face. Brother Yunyan. Back then I was only brought in through the side gate in a small sedan chair. Why? Wanyi Hongshu is with child, so naturally we should accommodate her. Zhao Yunyan furrowed his brow and glanced at me. Even Li Zhener hasn't said anything, so stop making a fuss. What main gate or side gate? I don't care about these empty formalities. Shu Wanyi froze, her eyes reddening as she lowered her head. Seeing this made Zhao Yunyan's heart ache, and he was about to say something. The sedan door had already been lifted open, and that hand made me freeze. That hand was worlds apart from Shu Wanyi's hideous scars on the wrist and rough calluses on the fingernails. Zhao Yunyan was dazed along with me. He didn't even have time to feel sorry for Shu Wanyi before hurrying to greet Wu Hongshu. Those are from playing the pipa at the music house before, and from blocking a blade for the marquis at a tea house. Shu Wanyi saw my surprise and said sorrowfully, "Those are all marks of devotion." Wu Hongshu had no bridal veil, nor did she have a maiden family to prepare a dowry for her. She wore only her usual red dress, holding that rosewood mother of pearl inlaid pipa as she stepped out of the sedan, coldly sizing us up. She was different from Shu Wanyi's gentle and understanding demeanor. Hers was another kind of bold and unrestrained beauty. Every curve of her brows and corners of her eyes exuded allure, like the fiery red corn poppies of midsummer. Just one lingering glance could easily set one's heart ablaze from within. She stared at the rosary pea bracelet on Shu Wanyi's wrist and let out a cold snort. Shu Wanyi just smiled softly, not getting angry. Zhao Yunyan gave her the Ting Shui pavilion. It was nicely built by the water, bright and quiet with the reflected light, so quiet you could even hear the sound of snow, perfect for her to play the pipatonite. Zhao Yunyan was keeping her company. I thought Xuanyi would call Zhao Yunyan away, but it was quiet over at Yangxia Pavilion. Xuanyi was a cautious person, or rather, she always thought thrice before acting and went with the flow. Before I married in, she knew Zhao Yunyan didn't love me at all, so calling him away was exactly what he wanted. But today, seeing how much Zhao Yunyan valued Wu Hongshu, she became much quieter. In the middle of the night, Tingshui Pavilion asked for water 3 times. Chunming bit on her brush handle, worrying for me. Sigh. Sister Dongqing. When I went to get charcoal for our room today, the servants below were all so lazy. The household management is still in Xuanyi's hands. Miss, why don't you fight for it? Only the main wife deserves to manage the household. Dongqing was removing my makeup. I teased Chunming. If I take it over tomorrow, can you read account books? Chunming stammered. Miss can. Sister Dongqing can too. I'll make you delicious food. If Sister Dongqing and I are checking accounts, she won't have time to go shopping with you, and I won't have time to teach you to read either. Chunming fell silent. We don't understand the Zhao family. If we force it and end up making a mess, people will laugh at us. I smiled. Worrying ages you. No need to fight for this now. Chunming thought that made sense. I told Dongqing, whoever responds lazily, just report back to me. Send them away. Don't let Chunming suffer any grievances. The next day, Dongqing told me. Xuanyi sent many tonics to Tingshui Pavilion, but the people there looked down on them and threw them all away. I thought about it and understood that Wu Hongshu was pregnant and very cautious, so she certainly wouldn't accept them. Miss, should we send anything? I shook my head. Is Miss afraid of kindness being taken for ill intentions? No, I just can't bear to waste things. If she throws away perfectly good stuff, I'd be too embarrassed to pick them back up. Can't blame her for being suspicious. It is only right to be cautious when pregnant. Tell the housekeeper, Madame Wang, that in a few days, my mother will invite Mama Shun from Baoshang Hall to come over. She is a renowned expert in women's ailments and is very well regarded in the capital. She'll examine not just concubine Wu, but all the women in the household. As I said this, an uninvited guest lifted the curtain of Lanju Pavilion, letting in a gust of snowy air. I turned to look. It was Zhao Yunyan. I didn't know how long he had been listening. I had brewed a pot of silver needle tea, and now the room was filled with the crisp fragrance of jasmine. He was a bit embarrassed. After all, he had just said he wouldn't come to me for the next half year. Care for some tea? He nodded, and I handed him a cup. Dongqing quietly pulled Chunming away and left. About Hongshu's matter, thank you for speaking up with Mother. He wasn't used to speaking nicely to me. I smiled gently. It was something Mother had already decided. I just mentioned it in passing. It is no big deal. The room fell silent, the candlelight warm and gentle. I was caught up with some matters lately and didn't accompany you for the homecoming visit. I'll go back with you next month. I smiled with pursed lips. It just so happens I wasn't feeling well lately either. Next month is a good time. What good time? He was puzzled. It is my birthday. If the Marquise can accompany me home, it would be joy upon joy. Zhao Yunyan was taken aback, only then realizing that, since I married into this family, he had neglected me all this time and knew nothing about me. Feeling a bit awkward, he turned to look at the book in my hands, trying to find something to say. It was Junshai Dushu Ji, open to the page on Li Yu's collection. You like Li Huju's sea poetry. When I read them, I only find them beautiful and melancholic, but I don't really understand them, I sighed. If someone who understands Li Huju could explain them to me, that would be nice. A glint of light flashed in Zhao Yunyan's eyes, and he wanted to say something more. But Hupo, the old madam's maid, came from outside to announce that the old madam was summoning us. We hurried over. He wasn't necessarily on my side. He was probably just used to pleading with his mother on behalf of the women around him. My son, don't shield her. Old Madame Zhao glanced at me and said harshly, This was your idea, wasn't it? I hadn't even reacted yet. Lee Jenner, I did agree to let that hussy into the household, but you've broken the rules, making such a big fuss over just taking in a concubine. People who don't know would think our Zhao family has turned everything upside down, demoting a wife to a concubine. Mother, this wasn't Jenner's idea. You sure married yourself an obedient wife. I am punishing her to kneel, so shut up. Old Madame Zhao shot a sidelong glance at Zhao Yunyan. Or would you like to join her and kneel in the ancestral hall for a day? Zhao Yunyan wanted to say more, but I gently tugged at the hem of his robe and shook my head. Li Zhen, go kneel in the ancestral hall and reflect on your mistakes. Lingji, Hupo, watch the door carefully. No dinner for her. Mother, Zhao Yunyan wanted to say more, but was sent away by old Madame Zhao. He glanced at me and finally stopped speaking up for me. The door closed, with Lingji and Hupo standing guard outside. Old Madame Zhao winked at me, my dear. This is what you wanted, isn't it? I had guessed part of it, but still broke out in a cold sweat. Mother. You've been kneeling for a while now, haven't you? Get up quickly. It breaks my heart. How could I bear to make you actually kneel in the ancestral hall? You just sleep here tonight, and we'll say you fainted. Once you wake up, this whole thing will be over. She had actually learned concubine Shu's tricks. Since Mother ordered me to kneel as punishment. If we're putting on a show, we should go all the way. Of course I have to go to the ancestral hall. The early winter night was bone, chillingly cold. I knelt in the ancestral hall. The ancestral hall was deep and dim. I knew countless pairs of eyes were watching this place. When the night fell silent, I heard whispers from the corner of the wall. By the sound of it, they seemed to be the maids by Shu Wanyi's side, Yutong and Yurong. Did you see, she is really kneeling? Sister Lingji, said the old madam's expression wasn't good, even during dinner. I don't think she is faking it. Sigh. The master doesn't even like the first madam. How could he possibly feel sorry for her? Sigh. The first madam is quite pitiful too. Then came rustling sounds. And then it was silent again. I didn't know what hour of the night it was when suddenly there came an extremely soft voice. Jenner, it was actually Zhao Yunyan. This is for you. He handed me a pair of knee pads with the bamboo and cloud patterns commonly embroidered on men's clothing. One glance was enough to tell they were the ones he used to use. I couldn't help but laugh out loud, and he became embarrassed. I was reckless back then and was always punished, so I kept them. I seemed to see Zhao Yunyan at 15 or 16, mischievous and rash yet full of clever tricks. Although all that cleverness was used to deal with old Madame Zhao. I looked into his eyes very earnestly, curved the corners of my lips, and said with genuine sincerity, "Thank you." Suddenly meeting my gaze, he froze for a moment, then quickly looked away. He wasn't used to being alone with me so intimately, so he put down the knee pads and hurried off. Keep them on. I am leaving. Don't tell Mother. She and Zhao Yunyan had gotten into an argument for some reason. An incense burner was smashed, and the sparks set fire to the gauze curtains of Tingshui Pavilion. That was Tingshui Pavilion, which Zhao Yunyan had built for her at great expense. The gauze curtains were Tang, style red silk drapes, worth no less than 10 gold per foot. The furnishings were either gold or silver, plus some Ruware vases and bowls. The prices need no elaboration. By the time I was eating, Dongqing had already gotten word that last night. Wu Hongshu woke up to find Zhao Yunyan not beside her, and suspected he had gone to Shu Wanyai's place. Zhao Yunyan only said he went to relieve himself. But Wu Hongshu didn't believe him. She said that after marrying her into the manor and securing her pregnancy, Zhao Yunyan's heart had changed and he no longer cared about her. By the end of the argument, Zhao Yunyan had gotten fed up too and didn't want to coax her anymore. Yorong from Yangxia Pavilion came with a soft voice to invite him, and he strode off on his long legs. Wu Hongxue cried and said she regretted entering the Marquise's manor, and regretted following him. I didn't think Zhao Yunyan's feelings for her had faded. At least he was still willing to go through the trouble of covering things up and coaxing her to be happy. People always say that crude saying, "A wife isn't as good as a concubine. A concubine isn't as good as a stolen lover." Chunming rested her chin on her hand. But I heard from the servants who put out the fire today that the things in Tingshui Pavilion are really expensive, even more expensive than Yangxia Pavilion. What else is Wu Xiaoniang not satisfied with? I sighed. Because she has been constantly losing. Lost what? She hasn't lost anything at all. It was said that the two only exchanged a glance at the doorway, and Wu Hongxue pretended to scold him, but couldn't help laughing first herself, and the two made up as before. That night, the sound of the pipa from Tingshui Pavilion played all night long, playing "The Hegemon Removes His Armor." I also heard Wu Hongxue plucking that mother of pearl pipa under the red silk bed curtains singing softly. Ever since I followed my great king to battle east and west, enduring wind and frost and toil, year after year, I only hate how the tyrannical Qin brought ruin to all living souls, causing the common people to suffer hardship and displacement. A few days ago, I found an opportunity to quietly return the knee guards to Zhao Yunyan, without alerting anyone. He put down the book in his hands and indirectly asked me about consummating the marriage. Me face flushed red, and I made an excuse saying my monthly period had come. Me period hadn't actually come, but I knew Xu Wanyi had hers these past few days. Mama Shun had also specifically reminded us that during the first 3 months of pregnancy, the fetus is unstable, so to be cautious, there shouldn't be any bedroom activities. Zhao Yunyan had gone hungry for half a month. I didn't want to become his substitute when he was desperate enough to take anything. That night at midnight, Yangxia Pavilion suddenly became noisy. Only then did I learn that Xu Wanyi didn't have her period. She was sick, and had been sick for a long time. I didn't know if it was because there were too many trivial matters of social obligations at the Marquise's residence during the year, and that had worn Xu Wanyi down to illness. She was originally a daughter raised in a scholarly family with a quiet household, never having learned to receive and send off guests. Yet she had to push herself to manage the household. These past few years had been very hard on her. The doctor was also puzzled, saying the bleeding had already stopped. So how did it recur? Xu Wanyi lowered her head in silence, while Zhao Yunyan stood aside, quietly saying nothing. But I guessed that if Zhao Yunyan wanted to stay the night at Yangxia Pavilion, Xu Wanyi wouldn't push him away. Her temperament was the most gentle and compliant. Even if she had to endure discomfort, she would let Zhao Yunyan have his pleasure. You young people don't understand the consequences. If this bleeding continues uncontrollably, it will be very hard to conceive in the future. The doctor's words made Xu Wanyi's face turn pale. The next day, Xu Wanyi's 2 maidservants Yurong and Yutong stayed in Zhao Yunyan's room. After resting quietly for 6 or 7 days, Xu Wanyi's health had improved considerably, and her face finally had some color to it. Meanwhile, for some reason, Zhao Yunyan took the initiative to come to my room. When he arrived, I was leaning against the window reading. Seeing him come, I brewed him a cup of jasmine silver needle tea. He suddenly brought up the topic of CI poetry. What does Jenner think of Master Wen's CI poetry? Mournful and exquisitely ornate, truly first-rate among the Huajian school. I thought for a moment, but some also say that Li and Wen, being men writing such boudoir poetry, lack dignity. They feel men should write bold and unrestrained CI. Boudoir air was once His Majesty's evaluation of Zhao Yunyan's poetry. These words struck right at Zhao Yunyan's sore spot, and he froze for a moment. Do you think so too? I shook my head. If one only sees boudoir poetry, then one only sees a single leaf and misses Mount Tai. It is like how Kuyuan loved metaphors of beauties and fragrant herbs. Could it be that Kuyuan only knew of beauties and wasn't a loyal minister? Couldn't bear the honorable name of an upright official? People say literature conveys the way, so the boudoir is merely the form. And behind the ornate boudoir writing lie words to caution the world. Like a precious mirror of romance, one mustn't only look at its romantic surface. Zhao Yunyan stared at me in a daze, not speaking for a long while. The fragrant mist of jasmine lingered over the table for a long time, and the tea in his hand had already gone cold. Outside, accumulated snow snapped a withered branch, and only then did he wake as if from a dream. His voice hoarse, not hiding his joy and shame, he placed his hand over mine. These past days, Yunyan misjudged you. Jenner, you are my kindred spirit after all. My face flushed red. I withdrew my hand and turned away. I only shared some shallow insights from the boudoir. How does that make us kindred spirits? Seeing me blush, he just kept smiling. Seeing his smugness, I pursed my lips and smiled. Sister Wanyi also comes from a scholarly family. Why doesn't second young master discuss poetry with Sister Wanyi? She does like to recite the poems I write, but she doesn't like Li Wen's lyrics, and can't discuss much reasoning with me. He sighed. She respects me and loves me, fit to be a beautiful concubine, but not my kindred spirit. After speaking smugly, he studied my expression, wanting to find a hint of jealousy on my face. Why did you suddenly bring her up? This is what men are like, I sighed inwardly. Even when discussing literature and philosophy with a kindred spirit of the opposite sex, they still fixate on what is under the skirt. I gave a soft hum. You just pretend I didn't ask. Can't I feel a little jealous for a kindred spirit even after I am married? After I said this, Zhao Yunyan felt a hint of forbidden excitement. He chuckled softly. Your husband probably can't discuss so much with you. What a pity. My kindred spirit has already married. Otherwise, this Zhao would surely seek your intimate favor. I gently pushed him. My face already flushed red. How could he ever compare to second young master? Seeing me blush, Zhao Yunyan couldn't help but lean closer to look. I hurriedly pushed him away. The day after tomorrow, I'll be returning to my parents' home with my husband. I don't even know if he remembers. He surely remembers. You are not my husband, how would you know? When I asked him like this, Zhao Yunyan was at a loss for words and suddenly pinched my cheek. I said I remember means I remember. The fragrance of jasmine filling the room mixed with the crisp chill of fresh snow. The atmosphere inside ambiguous and subtle. Everyone in the Zhao family was born good-looking, and Zhao Yunyan was no exception. Zhao Yunyan's features could be called stunningly gorgeous. His eyes when looking at you were full of deep affection. Some people's eyes are like clear lake water. Some people's eyes are like a vortex pulling you down. Zhao Yunyan could be both the lake water and the deep lake beneath. Tranquil, mysterious, and dangerous. He leaned close to my ear, enunciating each word, a seasoned player in romance speaking the simplest sweet nothings. How come I never noticed before? My wife is actually this beautiful. Too ambiguous, too familiar. So much like the harmonious union I had longed for, as if one sentence took me from lifting the bridal veil to growing old together. I still hadn't consummated the marriage with Zhao Yunyan, putting it off again and again, from 3 days to 5 days, until it was time for the homecoming visit. Mother had been waiting at the door early, seeing Zhao Yunyan get off the sedan with me. She secretly wiped away a tear. Sister is brother. In-law good to you. Little sister Xianer was only 7 years old, looking up at me. Does he buy you candy? Zhao Yunyan was amused by this. He bent down and patted Xianer's head. Yes. Mother secretly pulled me aside, asking how I was doing. Only after I kept saying it was good. Did she feel slightly relieved? Your father's official rank isn't high. Everyone says the Zhao family petitioned His Majesty for the marriage, and our family is marrying above our station. Only Mother feels for you, knowing you worry about affecting Xianer's future marriage prospects, and had no choice but to suffer some grievances at the Zhao family. The most important thing is to have a child by your side and raise him well. No matter how unreliable the Marquis becomes later, life will be easier with a child. After that day when he acknowledged me as a confidant, Zhao Yunyan was quite willing to give me face, and the mansion was lively with pleasantries for the whole day. That night, Zhao Yunyan stayed in my bedchamber, listening to me talk about many interesting stories from my childhood. I hoped he would first understand my past and realize that his wife was a living, breathing person. So there was even a Buddhist nun who wanted to enlighten you, saying you had the wisdom to see through worldly matters. Zhao Yunyan browsed my antique shelf with great interest. This white porcelain rabbit worshipping the moon is really adorable. What wisdom! I was only 10 years old then. How would I know it wasn't just to get my mother to donate more incense money? I hurriedly snatched back that rabbit and carefully placed it away. That rabbit was a gift from my mother when I was 7, and it just so happens my name is. I realized something was off and quickly stopped myself. But Zhao Yunyan wouldn't let it go. Called what? Nothing? Something so intimate. I was guarded against him and didn't really want to tell him. Seeing that I wouldn't confess, he put down the rabbit and came to tickle me. He was tall and easily pinned me down on the writing desk. I kept begging for mercy, but he wouldn't let go. At some point, the atmosphere quietly turned ambiguous. He leaned in so close that my face started to heat up. Come on, Jen, tell me. If I tell you, you'll let me go. Tell me, and I'll let Jenner go. It is Yuan Nu. My face flushed as I said softly. It is my boudoir pet name. No one's called me that for ages. Zhao Yunyan murmured. Yuan Nu twice in a low voice, his gaze gradually growing deep. He scooped me up entirely and strode toward the embroidered bed. This is my boudoir, at least wait until we get home tomorrow before. Isn't the boudoir even better? Hearing my pleas, he became even more brazen. I discovered that Zhao Yunyan always had a secret fascination with intimate matters. The more forbidden something felt, the more it stirred his appetite. Didn't Erlang say he'd let me go? I said I'd let Jenner go. Didn't say I'd let Yuan Nu go. The candles burned all night. Zhao Yunyan wouldn't allow them to be put out. It was truly a night that left one in a daze. Outside, light snow fell with a soft rustling, but inside the room was filled with intoxicating spring passion. He was a veteran of romantic affairs. Even the most elaborate silk skirts were willing to obey him. He interlocked his fingers with mine, calling me Yuan Nu over and over by my ear, forcing me to respond to him. As if in that moment, we truly were lovers who had been in love for years, finally united as one. On the bed, where passion ran deep, even ice and snow could melt, and banners unmoved by the 8 winds furled themselves without any breeze. Even though I had been guarding my heart and watching him coldly these days, in this moment, I couldn't help but love him. He lovingly twirled my hair, gazing with satisfaction at the blood on my silk skirt. Yuan Nu, only now do I feel like I am truly married. You are dignified and proper, different from all of them. The cold wind from outside suddenly blew in, reminding me it was still winter. Xu Wanye is too fawning and pliant, and Wu Hongshu is too well-versed in such matters. Both lack intrigue in the end. Proper and decorous, yet shy and understanding. These are Yuan Nu's virtues. Xu Wanye lost her virginity to him before marriage. Wu Hongshu turned back from her wayward path for him. He found neither satisfactory, ultimately lacking intrigue. When he said this, it made me think of the offering fruits in the ancestral hall. Those were pastries fried to a golden sheen, displayed from the 1st to the 15th, without spoiling, meant solely for the deceased ancestors to look at. But whenever I wanted to taste him, I found he was rotten inside. Zhao Yunyan got a taste of sweetness and pushed back his return to the residence by another 3 days. Zhao Yunyan was quite happy to stay in my boudoir, piecing together my past bit by bit, like hunting for treasure. So Yuan Nu likes little rabbits, and also likes narcissus flowers. He found some clay rabbit figurines I had molded, and on my childhood skirts, a row of narcissus flowers. I thought Yuan Nu did everything well. He found my calligraphy practice sheets and smiled smugly. So your handwriting isn't good. I hurriedly snatched it away. No laughing. Handwriting is something that can't be forced. Zhao Yunyan took the chance to wrap his arms around me, saying suggestively, "Then how about I teach Yuenu to write?" Really, if I teach Yuenu to write, Yuenu needs to acknowledge me as her master. As for the apprenticeship gift, what is it? The apprenticeship gift would be, give me a child. I spat at him, and he laughed shamelessly. Yuenu, our child will surely be wonderful. If they're like Yuenu and can't write well, wouldn't that drive you, their master, half to death? If the child isn't taught well, it is the mother's fault. I'll have to punish you. He deftly hooked his fingers onto my sash again. These days, Zhao Yunyan came to know that his wife Li Jenner was not Lady Li, the eldest Miss Li. Li Jenner was a noble lady who loved narcissus flowers and little rabbits. But she wasn't perfect in every way. In poetry and prose, she was no match for her husband Zhao Yunyan. She couldn't write well and couldn't understand the last ruler's lyrics. In intimate matters, she was stirring with spring longing, yet inexperienced in such affairs. Dignified and composed, yet unable to resist his teasing. Both husband and teacher, both lover and father figure. All of this fit too perfectly with Zhao Yunyan's ideal image of himself. 3 days passed without notice. On the day we returned to the mansion, mother and father were beaming from ear to ear. Yunyan, my son, this daughter of mine is really naughty and clumsy. If she does anything wrong, just come tell on her to me. Zhao Yunyan held my hand, his eyes full of deep affection. Jenner won't have done anything wrong. Even if I did, would Erlang still refuse to forgive me? I deliberately put on a spoiled act to put them at ease. Zhao Yunyan was also willing to act henpecked, prompting all the servants to chime in about how deeply in love we were as a couple. The carriage curtain lowered, and all around was the lively clamor of the marketplace. Zhao Yunyan suddenly leaned in close, smiling mischievously. I certainly won't spare you tonight. During the days we were away from the manor, everything appeared calm on the surface. I never realized she was such a seductress, clinging to the Marquis so much he won't even come home. Old Madame Zhao snorted coldly. Zhao Yunyan instinctively held my hand, signaling me not to worry. That evening, Lingji quietly brought over some tonics. Best if you have a big chubby boy, that'll infuriate those two vixens. I couldn't help but laugh silently. This old Madame Zhao was really addicted to acting. That night, Zhao Yunyan came to my Lanzhou pavilion, hesitant to speak. I could partly guess the reason. Because that afternoon, 3 Ru-ware vases had been smashed at Tingshui Pavilion. Erlang's troubles are my troubles too. I stroked his cheek. No need to hold back on Jenner's account. Zhao Yunyan had been hesitating, unsure how to broach the subject. But hearing me say this, he couldn't help feeling guilty. Jenner, I was supposed to stay with you. It is all right, Erlang. Go check on her quickly. Don't let Sister Hongshu get upset and harm the baby. Zhao Yunyan went to Tingshui Pavilion, and I took out Zhao Yunyan's calligraphy copybook to look at. I sighed. It really was quite ordinary. If I had to praise it, I could only say it was delicate. I looked at it for half the day, and was just about to put out the lamp and go to sleep, when suddenly the curtain was lifted. Zhao Yunyan had come. Seeing his dejected expression, I could already guess half of it. He had quarreled with Wu Hongshu, and it was quite a serious quarrel. I didn't ask the reason, only lowered the bed curtains. Does Erlang want to rest? He took off his outer robe, got into bed and held me, sighing. Hongshu really doesn't know any better. At noon the next day, Deng Sui from Tingshui Pavilion came to request Zhao Yunyan. She had been kneeling outside for half the day, but Zhao Yunyan just drank tea with a cold face. Even if that Wu Hongshu comes and kneels until her legs break, I won't see her before the new year. Dong Sui murmured her assent quietly and went back. Zhao Yunyan took up a brush, wrapped his arms around me, and taught me to write stroke by stroke. Yuanyu writes very well. It is because master teaches well. Zhao Yunyan really ate this up. As he kept teaching, his hands started to wander again. Just as the bed curtains were lowered, a senior maid came with 2 junior maids to ask questions. Zhao Yunyan's maid Liur said, "Second master, concubine Shu sent Yurong to ask how the year-end gifts for the various princes' residences should be prepared." That maid was Yurong. She didn't look quite like her to me. Before I could ask, Liur said with a smile. A while back, Yurong and Yutong had sticky fingers. They stole young madam's hairpin to sell outside, so they were sent away. Since the Marquis and Madam were both away from the mansion, and it was embarrassing since they were young Madam's own people, she didn't specially mention it to Madam. 2 more maids were brought up to serve, but young Madam was used to calling them Yurong and Yutong, so she just kept the names. So that is how it was. Zhao Yunyan was vexed. "Does your mistress have to come ask about all these things? 2 princes' households have had baby girls, and another prince was rebuked by His Majesty, so our mistress can't make up her mind." Zhao Yunyan fell silent again for a long while. I noticed the 2 maids behind Yurong were young, dressed thinly, huddling and hunching from the cold. "Second young master, give those 2 children an answer. It is so cold kneeling outside, quite pitiful. Tell your mistress I'll go speak with her later." Only when there was no more sound from outside did Zhao Yunyan sigh. "Wanya is good in every way. Just a bit too soft in temperament and can't make up her mind. But that is also her advantage. She has never made any mistakes." In the end, he looked at me. "I still think Yuenu is more thoughtful, and besides, you should have been the one managing the household anyway." I smiled and said meekly, "Let's just get these characters taught first. Practicing writing alone is already a chore." Before Zhao Yunyan could say anything more, Yurong came back from outside. The master said, "Seeing that the madam only has sister Dongxing and Chunming, she is worried there aren't enough hands, so she is sending Xuetuan and Xuerong to serve the madam." Zhao Yunyan held me in his arms. "Wan Yi asked you a few extra questions, and she is afraid she offended you, so she is sending people to butter you up." All right. All right. All right. All right. I am that yaksha. Second master should stay away from me too, lest I can't learn these characters and end up resenting you as well. Zhao Yunyan kissed my forehead and said he had some matters to attend to, and would come see me later. Xuetuan and Xuerong were only about 15 years old. Xuerong was the clever one. When she came in, she first let her eyes dart around the room, then kowtowed. Xuetuan was slow, witted. Xuerong had already gotten up before she hurriedly knelt down. Xuerong will follow Dongqing, and Xuetuan will follow Chunming. I don't have much to do here. After sending the 2 away, Dongqing asked me, "Isn't Miss afraid they might be spies from Yanxia Pavilion? What secrets are there in this marquise's mansion? Just don't let them serve me up close." Dongqing looked at me, thought for a moment, but still spoke up. "I heard Yutong and Yurong were married off by concubine Shu to servants. One's a gambling addict, the other beat his wife to death. Neither of them are good men." My brush paused, and I suddenly recalled what Yutong and Yurong looked like. They were a pair of sisters. Yutong was the elder sister. Yurong was the younger. The elder sister had long, lustrous black hair. I don't quite remember what the younger one looked like. I only remember the 2 of them standing on tiptoe, peeking through the door, sighing and saying I was pitiful. Back then, when Zhao Yunyan couldn't find a place to vent his frustration, and when Lady Shu's bleeding wouldn't stop, she sent both sisters to Zhao Yunyan's bed. Zhao Yunyan had already forgotten them both, too lazy to even savor any interest in them. I thought for a moment and asked Dongqing, "Then have a word with Steward Zhou outside. Give their husbands a warning, so those 2 will learn some fear and restrain themselves." Dongqing's eyes reddened. I didn't know when Dongqing had become close with Yutong and Yurong. Dongqing had always been steady and composed, rarely looking so frightened. This servant is scared. What difference is there between Yurong, Yutong, and this servant? Indeed, just like Xu Wanyi and Wu Hongshu, what difference is there from me? Dongqing, trust me, I will definitely find a proper place for you and Chunming. If you are willing, the three of us living like this for a lifetime wouldn't be bad either. All right. Let's just live like this for a lifetime. Chunming suddenly poked her head out, still holding a plate of chestnut cake. Sister Dongqing, you have to keep your word. Otherwise, no cake for you. The room filled with laughter, while outside a pair of eyes quietly withdrew. In the blink of an eye, the new year passed, and Wu Hongshu's belly gradually grew bigger. The doctor said she would give birth around early summer. But she and Zhao Yunyan still hadn't reconciled. She refused to eat. Zhao Yunyan went to coax her, urging her to eat for the sake of the child, which completely angered her. I could roughly understand what Wu Hongshu was angry about. She believed Zhao Yunyan only cared about the child, not about her. I advised Zhao Yunyan to mention the child less and ask about her more. Zhao Yunyan didn't understand, and wasn't willing to lower his pride. He just turned his head away and said he got it. In the end, he felt his words were too harsh and feared he'd embarrassed me, so he tried to find something to say. Suddenly, he noticed the narcissus flowers embroidered on Swearong's lapel and praised. As expected of someone trained by your side, as fresh and lovely as a flower. Swearong received the compliment and was overjoyed. On the 7th of the first month, perhaps because the weather had turned cold, and the servants all had gloomy expressions, or perhaps Wu Hongshu had figured things out on her own. With her big belly, the sound of pipa once again echoed from Tingshui Pavilion, and she had kept Zhao Yunyan there. Why did Miss try to persuade her? I'd be thrilled if they argued every day. It is just that seeing her pregnant reminded me of my mother. I sighed. Back then, father also argued with mother when she was pregnant. And mother got so upset she nearly had a miscarriage. All women in the world, whether strong or delicate, are pitiable when it comes to pregnancy and childbirth. We're all women. We all have our hardships. I can't bring myself to feel jealousy or the desire to harm her. I know. Our Miss is clear-headed, only wanting to live her own life well without meddling with others. She can't compare to our Miss, Madam added. So much dowry for Miss. The people had already arrived at the Zhao residence, but the dowry still had a long stretch on the road. Miss can really hold her head high. Besides, old Madam Zhao also likes our young lady. Although our young lady doesn't manage the household, last time when that servant gave Sister Dongqing attitude, they were dismissed the very next day. After Chunming finished speaking, she suddenly realized something, rested her chin on her hand and sighed. That concubine Wu has nothing at all. It must be really hard for her. Not long ago, some people were even saying she had status, had a child, had everything. Sister Dongqing. Strangely enough, I feel like the status, and even that child, don't really belong to concubine Wu. You are talking nonsense again. The child came from her belly. How could it not be hers? I don't know. Chunming couldn't figure it out. Perhaps it was just intuition. She leaned closer to Dongqing. Sister Dongqing, I am a bit scared. Don't be scared. I'll hold you while we sleep tonight. Dongqing stroked Chunming's cheek. Unlike her usual playfulness, Chunming was surprisingly quiet as she leaned against her. Tingshui Pavilion was nearby, and on this quiet winter night, the sound of a pipa drifted over along with the sound of water. On the winter night with the astringent scent of pine resin and powder. She played the pipa with her big belly. The old injuries on her hands flared up in the cold weather, so the pipa didn't sound as good as before. It was still that piece. The hegemon removes his armor. Yuji wanted to keep her hegemon in the tent. She sang with sorrow, rendering the Peking opera lyrics in the soft water, polished tones of kungfu. I urge the king to drink wine, and listen to Yu's song, dance gracefully to ease your sorrows. The ruthless Qin broke the kingdom apart. Heroes from all sides rose to arms. Ancient sayings have never deceived me, success and failure, rise and fall, all in an instant. The Lantern Festival is a major holiday. Zhao Yunyan wanted to take us out to walk across bridges and see the lanterns. Wu Hongshu was heavy with child, afraid of being pushed and shoved by passers-by, so she didn't go out. After the new year, Xu Wanyai had less on her hands, and these days Zhao Yunyan rarely went to see her. The Lantern Festival was Xu Wanyai's birthday, and Zhao Yunyan would go to keep her company. I never thought he would come to see me. But when I went to have tea with the old madam in the morning, she winked at me, grinning from ear to ear. That child Yunyan really has his heart set on you. He even asked me to send you away. Hurry back and take a look. I returned to Lanzhou Pavilion, only to find that everything from the bed curtains to the bedding had been changed. Moon. White silk gauze curtains, and the bedding had been changed to Sioux embroidery. This wasn't anything special, but the gauze curtains and bedding were all embroidered with narcissus flowers. The young master really likes our miss. He is even keeping it secret and won't let us tell. That afternoon, Zhao Yunyan sent me a set of clothes, a white silk jacket and a moonlit skirt. He had put thought into it. Both the moonlit skirt and the white silk jacket were embroidered with narcissus flowers and little rabbits. I was stunned for a moment, suddenly feeling something softening in my heart. Seeing that all your clothes before marriage were embroidered with narcissus, I couldn't let no one remember that after you got married. He smiled, actually showing a bit of youthful shyness like a boy's first love. I like you in skirts, bright and beautiful. Lanzhou Pavilion hides a fairy treading on waves. This set of skirts is only for Yuenu. No one else has it. Zhao Yunyan whispered in my ear, his words full of favoritism. Yuenu wearing, it will definitely outshine all of them. When Zhao Yunyan spoke sweet words, even though I was on guard, my heart still trembled. Because it really seemed too much like love, too much like he was offering you his whole heart. I stroked the two adorably naive rabbits on the hem of the skirt, and a voice in my heart was pleading for him. Li Zhen, it is actually okay to love him. He is your husband. He is different from all those other men. Even if his heart is divided into 3 parts, you still have the most special one. When the lanterns were first lit, Xu Wanyai held the hand of the 5-year-old child Nianyun, and remembering the past, said with a soft smile. Back when I was little, Brother Yunyan was just like this, holding my hand to go see the lanterns. Does Brother Yunyan still remember? There was only 1 rabbit lantern left, and you got into a fight with someone else to buy it for me. Mentioning the past, Zhao Yunyan's eyes also softened. I remember. I'll buy rabbit lanterns for Nianyun and you later. At the mention of rabbit lanterns, Nianyun's eyes lit up, and she sweetly called out Daddy. Xu Wanyai asked as if casually, in previous years during the Lantern Festival, how did Sister Li spend it? I heard that for someone from a family with such strict rules like sisters, it is rare to get a chance to go out for a walk at times like this. Mother would carry me to see the lanterns. When I got older, we'd just buy lanterns to look at in the manor, not as lively as outside. Xu Wanyai's eyes reddened. How nice. If my mother were still here, she would have doted on me like that too. Xu Wanyai's mother had died of illness before she got married. Later, the Xu family looked down on her tarnished reputation and rarely kept in touch with her. Zhao Yunyan seemed to think of something and embraced her tenderly. Don't overthink it. Nianyun is watching. Only then did Xu Wanyai stop her tears. I've made a fool of myself in front of sister. Fragrant wind from flowing robes, ornate carriages and fine horses filled the streets with perfume. Lanterns lit from the street's head to the alley's end, with wisps of firework smoke rising into the air. Zhao Yunyan didn't like the whole family sticking together, so he said everyone should go have fun on their own and meet back here in an hour. Xunming held Xuechuan's hand, while Shuerong followed behind Dongqing. Go have fun. I thought about it and took out some loose silver for them. Buy whatever you like. Xuechuan and Xunming took the money and happily ran off without a trace. But Shuerong stared at me. This servant wishes to stay by Mrs. side to serve you. Seeing this, Dongqing smiled and pulled her along. Our miss doesn't like being constrained. You'll understand later. Go have fun. Then Sister Dongqing doesn't need to take me around. I want to wander by myself. Shuerong shook off Dongqing's sleeve. Dongqing was momentarily stunned, but didn't take it to heart and let her be. There were mask vendors. I casually picked up a rabbit one and found it amusing when I put it on my face. I also spotted a Tangyuan vendor with a very long queue. It was Liu's. I remember my mother took me there to eat before. Miss, you look very pretty wearing this. Walking to the corner of the alley, a hand suddenly landed on my shoulder. I abruptly raised my head and looked at him warily. The man before me wore a mask and was draped in a black cloak, like a tall and imposing deity. Seeing my wariness, he instead became interested. May I ask how old you are, miss? Are you betrothed to anyone? Before I could run, he pulled me into his arms, his large hand covering my mouth tightly. I caught a glimpse of Shuerong in the shadows. I struggled desperately. She saw me, but didn't spare me a glance and slipped away with her head down. I bit his hand hard and kicked forcefully, but it was completely useless. One of his hands was enough to restrain both of mine, while his other hand easily reached under my Yuewa skirt and found the ties. My tears suddenly fell. Please, I beg you. I am a daughter from a respectable family. Please just spare me. I will definitely reward you handsomely. He said nothing, but still undid the ties and shrouded me entirely in the darkness. A chill ran up my legs, and I froze in despair. But he thought I had submitted and loosened his grip. Suddenly, I remembered the silver hairpin at the back of my head. I wrenched my right hand free, pulled out the pin and pressed it against his neck. Let go, or you'll die here too. Please, please let me go. Time felt as long as half a year. He panted heavily, sliding his hand under my clothes while praising my fear into my ear. Yuenu, so chaste and virtuous. Yuenu, so chaste and virtuous. Yuenu, so chaste and virtuous. I only felt a wave of dizziness. The hairpin suddenly fell to the ground. The moonlight skirt he gave me, embroidered with narcissus and rabbits, crumpled like mud in the corner, stained with dirt, ruined. His whole body was hidden under the cloak. Perhaps this forbidden sensation excited him more than usual. I watched numbly as he withdrew from my body, sighing contentedly against my neck. I thought Yuenu would pretend to submit. I specially chose this skirt. Easy to undo, isn't it? Why are you crying? Don't worry, there is no one here. No one will see. Clearly you also. I didn't know why I was crying. Nor did I know why I couldn't move. All those thoughts that were once composed, calm, and restrained, now looked at me coldly in this moment. You thought yourself a noble lady of high birth, thought yourself calm and composed, thought you had Zhao Yunyan's heart in your grasp, thought that by not loving him, you had won. How laughable. For some reason, I suddenly thought of Xuanyi. Those below her mocked her, calling her a vulgar wretch raised in a scholarly family, who, despite her menstrual bleeding, desperately tried to keep Zhao Yunyan around to satisfy his desires. Me, who thought winning hearts was the best strategy. Her, who degraded her body to please Zhao Yunyan. And Wu Hongshu, who played the pipa with a swollen belly. Who is nobler than whom? I don't quite remember how I ended up lying on the bed. It seems Dongqing helped me there. No, it seems Zhao Yunyan carried me to the bed. That cold-eyed, composed, self-righteous Li Zhen, floated above the silk curtains embroidered, with narcissus flowers, coldly watching the bed covered with narcissus embroidery. where the Lingbo fairy's jade body lay sprawled, like a glamorous corpse. This is what a husband is. He needn't be smarter than me, nor calmer than me. Even if stupid, shallow, and vulgar, he can easily tear me apart. Zhao Yunyan got a taste of it and thought my stiff body was accommodating him. He became more excited from being a confidant to a master, from a master to an adulterer. I don't really remember what he said, or what he made me say. That night, he was more patient than usual, patiently savoring my rigor mortis. On the third day of lying in bed without eating or drinking, to my surprise, it was Wu Hongshu who came knocking. Before she even saw me lying inside, her first words were a direct scolding. "Is your mistress dead or something? What kind of talk is that? Our madam is feeling unwell." Chunming spat, splashing the water onto the ground. "Watch your mouth, did shit clog up your throat first thing in the morning?" Being scolded like this by Chunming, Wu Hongshu was momentarily stunned. "Isn't that hussy Xuerong from your quarters? What about her?" I was just about to scold her myself. She went to fetch some thread, and still hasn't come back. She went to fetch thread right into the Marquise's bed. She won't be back for at least an hour. I struggled to sit up. "Sister, what is wrong?" Startled by me suddenly, Wu Hongshu froze, about to scold, but then saw my haggard face. Did you run into a ghost?" "Pa, you are the one who saw a ghost. Our madam is just feeling lazy and doesn't want to deal with you. More like she has a guilty conscience," Wu Hongshu sneered. "Your maid Xuerong climbed into the Marquise's bed. I am kindly telling you. She and that what is. Her name Shuiqiu along with concubine Shu are planning to go accuse you to the old madam." "Accuse me of what to the old madam?" I forced myself to get down, but I nearly fell to the ground. Wu Hongshu instinctively moved to support me, but Dongqing beat her to it. Feeling a bit awkward, she pulled out the handkerchief from her waist to cover it up. "I am not helping you. I just enjoy watching the drama. You are on your own." Chunming and Dongqing don't understand what happened between me and Zhao Yunyan. It is just that I don't say, and they don't ask, only urging me every day to pull myself together. "Miss, please wash up first," Dongqing urged. "If what that concubine Wu said is true, when the old madam summons us later, at least your complexion should look better. Doesn't Miss always say, don't show weakness in front of others?" I reluctantly nodded, letting Dongqing dress me up, when I suddenly caught sight of the narcissus on the bed curtains, finding them unbearable to look at. "Put all those away." "What is wrong?" "I don't like them anymore. Don't take them out to use ever again." I felt my head still throbbing dully. "If anyone asks, just say, I can't bear to use them." After lunch, a message came from old Madame Zhao's side. In Shukang Hall sat concubine Shu and Wu Hongshu, with Xuetuan and Xuerong kneeling below. Zhao Yunyan was not there. Seeing me arrive, old Madame Zhao could hardly conceal her anger. But I knew, this time it wasn't an act. "I wonder what mother wishes to ask about." "Kneel down." Old Madame Zhao didn't look at me, yet demanded I kneel. "Xuerong, speak." "This servant on the Lantern Festival that day saw the first madam pulling and tugging with a man in a corner." Xuerong hurriedly knelt. "For 3 days after returning, the first madam has been hiding in Lanzhu Pavilion, dazed and unwilling to see anyone." Concubine Shu furrowed her brow and spoke softly. "But what if you saw the wrong person? That night the madam said you weren't allowed to follow her. Maybe you wench, saw the wrong person." After she finished speaking, the old madam's expression became even uglier. "Xuetuan," Xuerong said you were with her. Did you also see it?" Xuetuan froze for a moment, then hurriedly knelt down, but didn't dare look at concubine Shu. This servant didn't see anything. This servant didn't know where to go at the time, and also followed the madam for a bit. But there really was no one beside her, let alone a man. The madam is being wrongly accused. I didn't know why Xuetuan was helping me lie. This servant has evidence. Shuarong took out that moonlight skirt. After the madam returned, that dress was all dirty. The madam asked this servant to wash it. But this servant really didn't dare destroy the evidence, so I secretly kept it. The slight shock on Dongqing and Chunming's faces when they saw that skirt didn't escape the old madam's eyes. Li Jian, what do you have to say? It wasn't that I had nothing to say. I just didn't want to say it. I was about to speak, but found that I had no strength left from kneeling too long. Everything went black before my eyes, and I collapsed. When I woke up again, I was in Lanzhou Pavilion, surrounded by a circle of people. Zhao Yunyan was holding my hand, his face full of joy. Mother is too easily swayed. She heard a few instigating words from that lowly servant and groundlessly suspected Jenner. How was I supposed to know about you young people's absurd affairs? Old Madame Zhao said a few words, then felt too embarrassed to bring it up again. Jenner did nothing wrong. In the end, it is your fault. Yes. It is all your son's fault. Jenner is clumsy with words and too honest. If mother is heartless and punishes Jenner again, do you still want this legitimate grandson or not? Legitimate grandson? I struggled to open my eyes, and Zhao Yunyan hurriedly helped me up. Be careful. Jenner, you are with child now. The physician said it is almost a month. With child, is it me? The physician said you haven't eaten anything these past few days, and your body is weak. I had Chunming bring you some food. He personally fed me a couple spoonfuls of bird's nest porridge. By now, I had basically figured things out. There aren't that many exquisite and devious schemes and plots in the inner quarters. Just like beasts hunting need enough patience, most of the time it is about waiting for the other party to make a mistake. Then seize that one mistake and trample them so they can never rise again. Shuarong, come here. I turned cold. Since you were certain I was being grabbed by a man, why didn't you save me then, but chose to slander me afterwards? This servant was scared. Scared that the madam would settle scores later. This servant also thought perhaps I saw wrong. No need to explain. I set down the porridge and leaned on Zhao Yunyan's shoulder. Suddenly, I noticed the narcissus flowers embroidered on Shuarong's hem, and felt a wave of nausea. Second young master. I don't want to see her. Send her away. Zhao Yunyan held my hand. Have Granny Zhou send her off to the brothel. No need for her sale money, too filthy. Shuarong knelt on the ground, desperately kowtowing, begging concubine Shu. Master, please save me, for the sake of this servant having served you. Concubine Shu lowered her head and rubbed the bright red rosary peas on her wrist, furrowing her brows. Brother Yunyan, Wan Yi's heart aches. Zhao Yunyan waved his hand impatiently, gesturing for her to go back to Yangxia Pavilion and rest on her own. Shuetuan, you should stay with Chunming instead. After saying all this, I was already too exhausted to catch my breath. Suddenly catching sight of Shu Wanye's retreating figure, I leaned close to Zhao Yunyan's ear and sighed. Second young master, someone is trying to harm me. Just focus on resting and taking care of yourself. I've already dealt with Shuarong. Zhao Yunyan knew perfectly well who I was talking about. But he wouldn't pursue the matter. Because the one Shu Wanyi wanted to harm wasn't him. And because Shu Wanyi catching us in adultery was also to protect him. Thinking of this, I couldn't help but find it amusing. Such a rotten person. I look down on him, yet somehow I understand him too. Days passed uneventfully, the weather gradually warmed, and it was already May. Zhao Yunyan noticed my distance, but assumed it was because I was pregnant and in a bad mood. He often went to Shu Wanyi's place, and then to Wu Hongshu's. I was quite surprised that Wu Hongshu came to tell me about Shuarong that day, though she said she just wanted to watch the drama unfold. After learning I was pregnant, Mother and old Madame Zhao got busy. Not knowing if it would be a boy or girl, they each made a set of baby clothes, Juazhou ceremony gifts, peace locks, Guanyin statues for blessing children, and little quilts consecrated at Shanyuan Temple, piled up like a small mountain. I asked Dongqing to pick out some baby clothes and auspicious jewelry for good fortune. Then Chunming and I took them to Tingshui Pavilion together. Because I figured with Wu Hongshu's personality, she probably didn't know how to do needlework. And likely no one from her family had prepared these things for her either. I hate her even more than I hate Shu Wanyi. Chunming grumbled angrily as we walked. When we arrived at Tingshui Pavilion, I found it even more desolate than I had expected. She and Zhao Yunyan were always fighting, then making up, then fighting, even though she was only 2 months away from giving birth. I guessed right. Wu Hongshu was struggling with a bundle of needlework, and when she saw me coming, she quickly hid it behind her back. She didn't actually need to do it herself. The manor kept seamstresses for such work. But as a mother, she always wanted to make something for her child with her own hands. What are you here for? Her eyes were full of wariness, treating kindness like donkey liver and lungs. My lady is here to bring you things, of course. Chunming snapped back. She didn't trust me, but she didn't lash out to my face either. Just leave it there. Thanks. I thought for a moment. If you hadn't told me first, I wouldn't have been on guard. Seeing me thank her, Wu Hongshu also looked a bit embarrassed. I should also thank you for persuading the Marquis. Chunming blinked, not understanding why the atmosphere had suddenly become so subtle. If you have any questions about your embroidery, you can ask me. Though my pipa playing isn't as good as yours, you probably can't beat me at embroidery. She hesitantly glanced at me, and seeing the sincerity in my eyes that didn't seem fake, finally took out the dudo embroidered with a little tiger from behind her. This edge never locks properly, the thread keeps running. I took it over, made a few stitches, and locked that edge smooth and neat. What a coincidence. Back then I couldn't do edge locking either. When I went to ask my mother, I got a good scolding. There, all done. Wu Hongshu took it back, praising repeatedly. Chunming had a keen eye, picking out the embroidery with bright and fine workmanship from the gifts that were sent, drawing repeated exclamations of admiration from Wu Hongshu. Going back and forth like this, we started chatting. About the dead goose that day. I am sorry. Wu Hongshu's eyes were full of guilt. I just wasn't convinced, wanted to give you a scare. Didn't scare me, but it did scare the sedan bearers. I didn't mind. That jolt wasn't even as strong as when Zhao Yunyan kicked the sedan door. Granny Shun's instructions were thorough. Said not to overeat, to walk around more. A big baby puts the mother at risk. My younger sister was delivered by Granny Shun. She is mischievous. When mother was pregnant with her, it was really hard. She was always throwing up. But when she was pregnant with me, it was peaceful and quiet. I didn't trouble her. My mother even said I've been filial since I was little. Hearing me mention my mother, Wu Hongshu froze for a moment and lowered her head. What are mothers like? That stumped me. How should I put this? Your mother. My mother. It seems like everyone's mother is different, right? Seeing my surprise, Wu Hongshu began to tell me about her past. Her name wasn't Wu Hongshu. Hongshu was just a stage name. She'd never seen her mother since birth, growing up with a kungfu opera troupe. She learned pipa in the troupe and could sing a few lines of kungfu too. Later, when she turned 12, an old landlord took a liking to her and bought her out to be his concubine. Then came a famine year. The landlord was killed by bandits, and she fled to Jiangnan, playing pipa in a tea house. That is when she met Zhao Yunyan, traveling in plain clothes and being harassed by some people, and she took a blade for him. What happened after that, we all know. To win a smile from her, Zhao Yunyan spent a fortune to build the Tingshui Pavilion. Speaking of Tingshui Pavilion, one couldn't help but mention the pipa. Picks made of tortoise shell, plectrums inlaid with gold and jade. None of that was anything special. Even the rosin powder was mixed with gold dust. They said with gold dust, the tone would be warm and mellow. Thursday Then is this pipa also a gift from the marquise? Chunming exclaimed. The mother of pearl inlay on this alone must cost a fortune. This wasn't from him. Everything else in this building is, but this mother of pearl pipa alone is not. Mentioning this pipa, Wu Hongshu's face was full of pride. Back then, the tea house owner made a bet with a rival. The rival brought in a famous pipa master, said to be a musician who'd once served in the palace. Everyone was too scared to take her on, but I alone wasn't afraid of her. That musician made a bet with me. If she lost, she'd give me the mother of pearl pipa bestowed by His Majesty. Chunming listened with rapt attention, her eyes wide. So what did you have to give her? She said if I lost, I'd give her these hands of mine. Weren't you afraid of losing? That would mean getting your hands chopped off. Chunming's little face went pale. But as you all saw, I didn't lose. So this pipa is mine now. She told many stories, competing with pipa to save a courtesan from the pleasure quarters. A dandy squandering his entire fortune just to buy one song from her. But she didn't think much of him and wouldn't play, even if he offered her a golden house. By the end, we'd even forgotten to drink our tea. Wu Hongshu noticed the genuine admiration in our eyes. She rubbed her belly, feeling a bit of regret at not being able to gift her music to such appreciative listeners. It is a pity my belly's too big now, so I can't play for you. Aunts, I am out of my confinement month. I'll definitely play High Mountains and Flowing Water for you. Later that evening, Zhao Yunyan came to my quarters. His very first words left me stunned. When Hongshu's child is born, whether boy or girl, they'll be raised in your quarters. Before I could refuse, he'd already made up his mind. Several midwives have examined her, and all say it is a boy. This will be the eldest son of the Zhao family. He must be raised in your quarters. I thought about it. But our child is almost due too. How am I supposed to manage both? It is fine. All 6 wet nurses are in your courtyard. You don't need to worry about anything. Zhao Yunyan held my hand. Jenner, you don't understand. It is best that the child be raised by you. You are a young lady from a distinguished family, and the legitimate wife of our Zhao household. You needn't refuse. Mother also said, this is how it should be. This is the proper etiquette of the Zhao family. Although all children, whether legitimate or concubine, born, call the main wife mother. Not all of them are raised in the main wife's chambers. What if it is a daughter? Shu Wanye's daughter Nyan could be raised by Shu Wanye's side. Zhao Yunyan pondered for a moment. Naturally, you would raise her too. Why? Should a young lady of the Zhao family learn to sing songs from a mother like hers? I suddenly thought of Wu Hongshu holding her pipa with a proud expression, saying that even the court musicians couldn't compare to her, saying she once made a brothel madam cry with a single song, and saved a respectable girl who nearly fell into prostitution. She said everyone was certain it would be a boy, but she actually hoped it would be a daughter, so she could teach her to play the pipa. Perhaps someday she would meet a husband who understood her like Zhao Yunyan did. A kindred spirit. I didn't know why, but I suddenly felt very sad for that silly Wu Hongshu. Would Sister Wu be willing? She wouldn't be willing. She would be willing. Zhao Yunyan smiled faintly, placing his hand over mine, his eyes full of tenderness. Once our own child is born too, managing the household, raising the children, all these matters will be entrusted to you, Jenner. Wu Hongshu's due date was drawing near. I was afraid of disturbing her delivery, so I dared not tell her that Zhao Yunyan had already decided to have her child brought to me to raise. I held on to a faint hope in my heart that after the child was born, Wu Hongshu could talk it over properly with Zhao Yunyan, and there might still be a way to turn things around. Besides, Wu Hongshu and I were still on good terms now. Lanzhou Pavilion and Tingshu Pavilion were close by. Even if the child was raised in Lanzhou Pavilion, she could come see me often, and staying long wouldn't be a problem either. I didn't want to take what belonged to another. Of course, it was best for a child to be raised by their birth mother. But word got out anyway. Yutong and Yurong, the maids by Shuanyi's side, accidentally let it slip when delivering gifts to Tingshui Pavilion. That night, I knocked on Wu Hongshu's door, but no one answered. She refused to see me. Did she think I had been scheming all along to take her child away? Tingshui Pavilion had no lights on, bordered by water on 3 sides, dark and gloomy like Gaixia, besieged by songs of Chu on all sides. Hongshu, let me speak to you from my heart. I don't want this. You know I want to have my own child too. We're both mothers. How could I bear to steal another mother's very life? From the other side of the door came a long silence. Don't be sad. You are about to give birth now, and for a woman, childbirth is like crossing through death's gate. The most important thing is that you don't let yourself get upset. If what we said that day was from the heart, and you were willing to play high mountains and flowing water for me, then my Lanju Pavilion is willing to be your maternal home. I let out a sigh and turned to leave. She suddenly opened the door, her eyes red from crying, like corn poppies battered by rain. Sister, what am I supposed to do? I comforted her with a few words, and thought of many things to say to cheer her up, saying things like how our daughter would be with us both, that in the future she'd learn to play the pipa and do needlework, and have another mother to dote on her. Clearly, this was a woman who should have fought me to the death, or at the very least, a woman whose life or death had nothing to do with me. Men often say women are jealous and scheming. Otherwise, why would jealousy and treachery have the character for woman in them? Yet, seeing her cry, I felt neither jealousy nor disdain, nor any secret glee of a victor. The summer night was silent. Even the insects chirping could be clearly heard. My heart was cold and heavy. That summer night, no one knew that my heart snowed for 10,000 years for her who cried herself to sleep. Half a month later, Wu Hongshu gave birth. Even though just the day before, she had coldly argued with Zhao Yunyan. But the messiness and pain of childbirth left her without a trace of temper or pride. Her head was covered in sweat as she anxiously looked outward, trying to find Zhao Yunyan's figure through the door. Where is Yunyan? Can't he be with me? Zhao Yunyan was kneeling in the ancestral hall, begging his ancestors to grant him a son. Men aren't allowed in the delivery room. Mama Shun patiently held her hand. Mama, I want Yunyan to be with me. Wu Hongshu cried. It hurts so much. It really hurts so much. I feel like I can't hold on anymore. Don't be scared. Girl, every woman has to go through this. We all came through it this way, Shun Mama consoled. Giving birth is all bloody down there. If a man saw it, he'd be scared limp. Just bear with it. I was by her side wiping her sweat, watching Chunming and Dongqing going in and out bringing hot water and clean cloths. With Shun Mama here, don't be afraid. My little sister was also delivered by Shun Mama. She has experience. Don't be scared. Shu Wanyi peeked outside the delivery room several times. She didn't want to help, but seeing Wu Hongshu's painful state, she hesitated and still poked her head in, speaking up. Sister, stop screaming. Save some strength. It was like this when I gave birth to Union too. I screamed until I had no strength left at the end, nearly died. I thought giving birth was a matter of moments. It hurts and then it is out. But Wu Hongshu's child took nearly a whole day of struggling. The child was born at the hour of Z. It was a boy. The child was hurriedly wrapped up by many hands and placed into the old madam's arms. The sisters, in-law and maids all crowded around cooing at him. Wu Hongshu had no strength left at all. She struggled to turn her head, looking at me hopefully. Sister, is the child good looking? Does he look more like me or like Yunyan? Not good. Looking all wrinkly and red like a monkey. So he looks like Zhao Yunyan then. He looks like Zhao Yunyan. She was a little disappointed. Sister, I can't teach him to play the pipa anymore. I am also sad that I can't teach him needlework anymore. We looked at each other, and suddenly couldn't help but burst into laughter. The baby is being fed by the wet nurse. The wet nurse's diet is all refined, and her milk is good. Just rest easy. And once you've recovered your strength, I'll bring him over for you to see. Wu Hongshu reluctantly held onto my sleeve and nodded. I smoothed the wet hair sticking to her face, and following what Mama Shun had said, reminded the maids not to let her catch any drafts, to change the maternity pads frequently, and to always wash their hands before attending to her. I was truly happy for her. Mother said that having a child gives you something to look forward to. Even if you can't rely on your husband in the future, a child is someone you can depend on for life. From now on, she won't need to wait for Zhao Yunyan to come. There will be a little child who will also want to listen to her Pipa Zhao. Yunyan gave him a name, Zhao Wenyi. Wenyai, Wenyai. Wu Hongshu repeated it twice. Sister, do you think this name is good? Yes. Writing essays with ease. Isn't he destined to become the top scholar? Wu Hongshu smiled too. I brought the baby over. The redness on his body had already faded. He was fair and fragrant. She couldn't look at him enough no matter how long she gazed. Babies are so soft, sister. Yes, they are. Sister, look at his tiny hands and feet. I've already looked. The wet nurse took him away to feed, but she still gazed longingly into the swaddling clothes. Can't get enough of looking now, but there'll be plenty to worry about later. Learning to read, studying, getting married, having children. So much to be annoyed about. I teased her. It was the same when my mother gave birth to my younger sister. She couldn't get enough of looking either. Later my sister was so naughty she made my mother cry from anger. While we were talking, Lingji from old Madame Zhao's side came over. Madam, the old madam has something to say to you. Old Madame Zhao held my hand. First asked about my pregnancy, then sighed. After all, I am at ease with the child being raised by you. Don't often take him to see that concubine Wu. He is my grandson. He should be raised in the main wife's room, so he won't learn lowly ways. I knew no one could refute old Madame Zhao's words. Her meaning was also Zhao Yunyan's meaning. Don't let me often take the child to Tingshui Pavilion. Mother knows you treat that concubine Wu well because you want to earn a reputation for being tolerant to subordinates and kind to concubines. You are the legitimate daughter of the Lai family. There is no need for such superficial efforts. Mother believes in you. Yunyan believes in you too. Who in the whole family doesn't praise your good temperament? Mother has thought about it too. You are about to give birth, and I can't make you be the villain. Before you finish your confinement month, Wenyi will be raised in my Shukang Hall. I doubt she'd dare say anything. When our legitimate grandson is born, both will be brought to your room. The two brothers should naturally be close from childhood. Old Madame Zhao thought for a moment, then remembered the most important matter. That Wenyai is the eldest son born of a concubine. But don't worry, the Marquis Manor's title will definitely belong to my legitimate grandson in the future. Mother and Yunyan won't be so foolish. Once the legitimate grandson is born, Mother will help you take the housekeeper's keys from concubine Shu. Mother knows that over the past half year, you've looked through the account books and have your own plans. She had made many plans for Lady Li, the main wife of the Marquis Manor. Every word sincere and heartfelt. To have such a mother, in-law helping to scheme was Lady Li's good fortune. It was also what Lady Li had calculated when she married into the Marquis Manor. First, the authority to manage the household. Second, heirs to continue the line. Third, dignity and honor. But were these what Li Zhaner wanted? The August weather was dry, hot, and unbearable. Zhao Yunyan seemed to have noticed that on that lantern festival day, I had indeed gotten angry. I knew Zhao Yunyan responded to softness, not hardness. Whenever he and Wu Hongshu argued, it was always Wu Hongshu who backed down. But I truly couldn't forgive him, couldn't lower myself like before to cater to his preferences. I wouldn't prepare silver needle jasmine tea for him on the table. I wouldn't acknowledge him when calling for Yuenu. And I even put away that Narcissus bedding set. A laughable and shallow display of anger, like washing my husband's underwear with a cold face, then claiming spiritual victory by saying that although I still sleep with him, manage the household for him, and bear his children, my heart no longer loves him. But what else could I do? I didn't know either. The storybooks say that at this point I should divorce, and then another man who has admired me for a long time would appear. He would have none of the flaws of other men, with an even more illustrious background and beautiful appearance than Zhao Yunyan. He would be pure and chaste, yet wouldn't despise me for being impure. After all, it is just a storybook. Satisfying to read. But after the satisfaction comes endless disappointment and confusion. I still haven't figured out what other path I can take. It is rather laughable. But seeing me angry, Zhao Yunyan became extraordinarily cautious and attentive. Several times Zhu Wanyi caught him apologizing to me in the garden, even swearing oaths that as long as I was unwilling, he would never fool around or take liberties with me again. When Zhao Yunyan apologized, Xu Wanyi's face turned ghastly pale, as if the deep red rosary P bracelet on her wrist had drained all the color from her in an instant. He still liked to practice calligraphy with me and read poetry together, just much more proper now. If he gently called me UNO, I was willing to respond with an He would be overjoyed, like a child who got candy. His anxious, uncertain demeanor suddenly reminded me of the 8 sufferings that old nun once told me about. The suffering of birth, the suffering of aging, the suffering of illness, the suffering of death, the suffering of parting from loved ones, the suffering of meeting those you hate, the suffering of not getting what you desire. Wu Hongxue was punished with confinement by old Madame Zhao, because she had talked back to the old madam. The old madam wouldn't let her see Wenyi, so she barged into Shukang Hall and was beaten by the old madam. The old madam gave orders that whoever dares to leak the news and disturb the first madam's pregnancy rest would be beaten together, beaten to death without question. The news was still let out by Yurong when she came to deliver ginseng to me. I couldn't bear it in my heart, so I called out to Zhao Yunyan. Second master, let Sister Wu see the child. Don't worry about these matters. Mother can never be wrong. After lunch, I went to Shukang Hall, but Lingji blocked the door. The old madam has retired to rest. I am to tell madam that she won't see anyone. Helpless, I went to Wu Hongxue's Tingshui pavilion. She had been beaten with the paddle, barely holding herself up, with her maid Yubo supporting her from the side. Her face was covered in tear stains. She had no heart for grooming. Her voice hoarse from crying couldn't speak. But she pointed at the 5-stringed pipa by the window. Chunming, with reddened eyes, held the pipa and brought it to her. She didn't play it, but handed the pipa to Chunming. Chunming, take this pipa and sell it. Chunming was startled, quickly shaking her head. Sister, you are delirious from illness. How could this be sold? Are the servants being stingy? Are you short on food or clothes? I hurriedly stopped her. Dongqing, go investigate. Whoever dares to withhold anything, bring them to my Lanju courtyard first. I still have 200 taels of silver there. Sitting idle, have Shuetuan bring it over. Wu Hongxue just bit her lower lip hard, shaking her head as tears fell again. She couldn't even speak properly anymore. Sister, no one's depriving me of food or clothes. Chunming, sell the pipa, and please go to the silversmith to have a pair of bracelets made. Gold or silver, either is fine. I can't see Wenyi. I can't see him. These bracelets are from me to him, not from the Zhao family. Chunming cried so hard she couldn't speak, just sobbing while clutching the pipa. Wu Hongxue had no more tears left to shed. She stared blankly at the pipa, gently caressing the mother of pearl inlay on it. It was the pipa she won from the palace musicians when she was 17. Through all these years of hardship and wandering, the delicate mother of pearl showed not a single trace of time, cared for even more preciously than her own hands. It wasn't just her pipa. It was her old friend, her very soul. With it she played. The hegemon removes his armor to win back a man's heart. With it she played the role of Lady Hongfu to rescue a woman from the pleasure quarters. It accompanied her through autumn moon over Han Palace, accompanied her through spring snow. I don't know how long she gazed at it before she looked up and smiled at me, with a hint of apology. Sister, I am sorry. I am afraid I can't play high mountains and flowing water for you anymore. The pipa was sold for 5 ingots of gold, and a gold necklace was made. Then I turned around and redeemed it for 10 ingots of gold, waiting for the day I could return the pipa to her. Chunming didn't understand, and asked me why I wasted 5 ingots of gold. I stroked the pipa and sighed. It is different. Hongshu asked me to wait. Wait until she recovered from her illness. The rain stopped, and the weather was nice. Then go with her to put the collar on Wenyi. It rained for 5 days, and after 5 days the sky cleared. I heard Chunming running in frantically. She couldn't hide anything on her face. Her complexion pale as a sheet of Schwan paper soaked with tears. Her worries ready to burst at the slightest touch. Dongqing looked at my belly worriedly and shook her head at me. Don't hide it from me. I sat down first and said in a deep voice, I am not someone who can't handle things. Chunming's tears streamed down in an instant. She covered her eyes, mouth agape. Sister Hongshu is dead. Hongshu dead. Is it Hongshu? Is it really her? Wasn't she going to put the collar on Wenyi with me? The rain that fell for 5 days stopped this morning. It is such nice weather. Perfect for us to go see Wenyi. Why? Why? The old madam kept the child in the attic of Shukang Hall, and wouldn't let Sister Hongshu go in to see him. Sister Hongshu secretly climbed up at night. It rained the past few days. Maybe the moss was slippery, and Sister Hongshu's hands were injured. She couldn't hold on. In a daze, I looked at that pipa. It rested quietly by the window. The afternoon slanting sun shone on the mother, of pearl inlay, with fine, flickering, colorful light, and the mellow scent of gold powder mixed with rosin. No one plays her, so she stays silent, neither joyful nor sorrowful. I realized I couldn't speak anymore. As I lowered my head, tears soaked my hands and clothes. In the end, in a daze, I vaguely heard the distant sound of a pipa from Tingshui Pavilion. It was the unfinished. The hegemon removes his armor. The Han soldiers have seized the land. Songs of Chu sound on all sides. The king's spirit is spent. How shall this consort go on living? Ug. Oh, Ug, miss? Miss? Perhaps I was very lucky. The pain in my heart actually made the pain of childbirth seem not so painful anymore. Mama Shun's face and my mother's face seemed to overlap in my daze. When the pain reached its peak, I wanted to say something. But what could I say? Say I didn't want Hongshu to die. Say I was in so much pain. Ask if the child was a boy or girl. I heard a cry, then heard my own very, very faint voice. Mother, I miss home. She was a very cute girl who loved. To my surprise, old Madame Zhao and Zhao Yunyan weren't unhappy at all. They were busy playing with her. Because she was so sensible and well-behaved. She only smiled when old Madame Zhao or Zhao Yunyan held her. Even the wet nurses couldn't soothe her. This favoritism made old Madame Zhao and Zhao Yunyan overjoyed every day. Her name was Zhao Ningzhao. Fragrant as pepper and orchid, serene and tranquil. It is fine that it is a daughter, we're still young. I hadn't confessed any guilt. Yet Zhao Yunyan had already forgiven my sin. Yuenu, I am really so happy. Even since Nyanyan was born until now, I've never been this happy. Liking Ningzhao is fine. But did you really have to drag another innocent child into this? After Wu Hongshu died, He was overwhelmed with grief, often sitting for long stretches in Tingshui Pavilion, and wouldn't let anyone touch the things inside. He wrote many mourning poems and boudoir laments to show me, every word dripping with blood, tender and sorrowful. It reminded me of a joke about a scholar who was very good at writing mourning poems. Every line about his deceased wife moved people to tears. A country gentleman went to visit him out of admiration, only to find this scholar had never even married. He was so earnestly devoted, yet didn't notice the pipa in Tingshui Pavilion was missing. He made a copy of those mourning poems and took the pen name Tingshui Jushi, saying if these poems were ever to be published, he could sign them with this pen name. It is laughable. Really, I understand him more and more. His love is essentially a selfish narcissism. With all 3 children wearing them neatly, no one could tell anything was off. Xu Wanye came at night, holding Nyanyan's hand. When they leaned against the doorway peering inside, I was copying scriptures for Wu Hongshu. Xu Wanye saw me copying scriptures, understanding in her eyes. Concubine Wu was disrespectful to you, sister. Her death was her own doing. I put down my brush and looked at her coolly. You came here just to tell me this. I don't know what Xu Wanye was thinking. Did she believe I schemed to kill Wu Hongshu and was now shedding crocodile tears? Or did she become wary of me out of fear for her own fate? I really hated Xu Wanye. Because of Yutong and Yurong's deaths, because she deliberately leaked information to provoke Hongshu. She suddenly knelt down, pulling Nyanyan with her, and kowtowed to me hard. Please have pity on me, Dan Yangzi. Nyanyan is the only child I have by my side, and the doctor said I won't be able to conceive anymore. I didn't understand what she meant. I had no intention of taking her Nyanyan away. This child is already 6 years old. The old madam said she won't be responsible for Nyanyan's upbringing anymore, so I came to beg Danyangzi. When I saw the necklace Danyangzi gave Nyanyan, I knew Danyangzi is kind-hearted. If Danyangzi is willing to teach her, this child will definitely be able to marry into a good family in the future. When Xu Wanyi said this, she had already pushed Nyanyan in front of me. Quickly call her mother. Nyanyan wasn't close to me. She was only 6 years old, struggling to understand why her mother suddenly wouldn't let her call her mother anymore. She couldn't figure it out, so she burst into tears. When Zhao Yunyan came over, he saw Xu Wanyi holding Nyanyan, both crying in a heap. Zhao Yunyan's face turned cold. Take Nyanyan back. What kind of behavior is this? Crying and sobbing here. The court is in a panic. The censors are jumping at shadows. Don't drag the entire Zhao household down with you. Later I heard that Xu Wanyi's father seemed to have backed the wrong side and was demoted, said to be exiled to Lingnan, forbidden from entering the capital for life. Beyond that, I didn't know much more. Zhao Yunyan rubbed his brow and naturally lay down on my lap. Only when I am with you do I feel at ease. He wept and drank to drown his sorrow over Hongshu's death, and I shed tears alongside him. On the table was the silver needle jasmine tea he loved, along with the faint scent of ink from copying sutras. Zhao Yunyan had been drinking before he came, and now as the room warmed up, the smell of alcohol rose. Jenner. I always feel like I can't see through you. He was drunk, tugging at my sleeve. You seem to love me so much, yet also seem to not care about me at all. Jen, look at me. Ever since Hongshu left, no, ever since the Lantern Festival, I've felt that I just feel like you are shrouded in mist, like there is a veil between us. He drifted off to sleep in a daze, resting his head on my lap. If only I had met you a little earlier. Just a little earlier. Jenner. The wedding candles on the bridal night should illuminate a pair of blushing faces. Not the reddened eyes of a former lover, and the scars covering the new bride's body. I tidied his hair by his temples, and only then did he fall asleep at ease. I looked at his profile. Yet in my heart I thought, you don't deserve this. You truly don't deserve it. You truly don't deserve to have a woman genuinely love you. You want your wife to understand poetry and literature, yet you don't want her to understand too much, lest she see through your mediocrity. You want your wife to understand the pleasures of the bedroom, yet you also want her to be virtuous and chaste, to be your faithful but sexually submissive woman. What saddens me most is that marrying you was not something I could decide. Even if I married a clay or wooden puppet, I could only stay by his side, spending the rest of my life slowly carving and painting him, so that this puppet's face wouldn't look too detestable. Before long, the weather turned cold, and Xu Wanyi's father's case, delayed again and again, was finally tried. Xu Wanyi's father was both fortunate and unfortunate. The Xu family had some savings, so they didn't need to rely on Xu Wanyi for support. Zhao Yunyan knew that Xu Wanyi always sneaked off to the Xu residence to see her father, but he turned a blind eye to it. It wasn't until the plague in the capital began to worsen and servants in the Zhao household started showing fever and wheezing that Zhao Yunyan realized something was wrong. The Zhao residence began burning mugwort and boiling vinegar, drove out the 6 servants and kept the 3 children in Shukang Hall. Aside from delivering meals and emptying chamber pots, no one else was allowed in or out. Yangxia Pavilion was sealed off separately, because Xu Wanyi had developed a fever. She had just returned from the Xu family the day before yesterday. Her father had died of illness. Zhao Yunyan was also very scared, because just yesterday he had slept beside Xu Wanyi. He came back and ordered the servants to heat the warming room until it was scalding hot, then washed himself thoroughly from head to toe. Still feeling it wasn't enough, he stayed in my room that night. He was very scared, and felt more at ease with me. Those who caught the illness would first develop fever and coughing fits, then cough up blood after prolonged coughing, and finally no medicine could save them. To be honest, I wasn't that scared. I even thought about what if Zhao Yunyan caught the illness and died without a cure. If he could die before me, even just 3 days earlier, I would have 3 days of relief. The only ones I couldn't let go of were Jiaoer and Wenyi. Coming back to my senses, I was startled by my own thoughts too, and shook my head with a smile. Xu Wanyi got sick early, but surprisingly recovered quickly too. Those who fell ill after her were old Madame Zhao, Zhao Yunyan, and me. When Zhao Yunyan got sick, he moved to Yanxia Pavilion. Zhao Yunyan was afraid the servants might carry the illness, so Xu Wanyi removed her jewelry and ornaments, kneeling by his bedside, and tending to him without rest day and night. Xu Wanyi's gentle attentiveness made Zhao Yunyan feel guilty, regretting how badly he had treated Nianyan these past days. Despite Xu Wanyi's meticulous care, Zhao Yunyan recovered slower than me, and even got worse. He stopped coughing, but started vomiting blood, and later it got so severe he began urinating blood. Old Madame Zhao was still unconscious, and after I recovered from my illness, I was busy looking after the 3 children and had no time to deal with him. Until the imperial physician came to the Zhao residence. The imperial physician diagnosed it as poisoning, but couldn't tell what kind of poison it was at the moment. Because of the sudden epidemic, medicinal supplies were scarce, and the registration for medicine usage within the residence was extremely strict. Even at outside pharmacies, ordinary medicines required triple documentation for every purchase, let alone poisons that were already hard to obtain normally. The imperial physician administered acupuncture and poured golden juice down his throat. Zhao Yunyan vomited until the world spun, and only after placing ginseng slices under his tongue did he recover a bit of strength. The imperial physician wiped his sweat and urged me to find out what kind of poison it was, so he could treat it accordingly, and also guard against any follow-up moves. In Yangxia Pavilion, the decorations were simple and not overly extravagant. The bookshelves were piled with books stacked like Taihu rocks, their pages slightly wrinkled and yellowed. One could tell at a glance they weren't just for show, but were frequently read. I recognized many rare editions by famous masters inside. They must have taken a lot of effort to collect. I am not a bodhisattva with compassion for all beings. But at that moment, I also wondered what if I had gotten to know Shu Wanyi a little earlier. Could we have had many conversations? Could we have reconciled like I did with Wu Hongshu? Why, Zhao Yunyan's face was ashen, unable to believe that the gentle and obedient Shu Wanyi would poison him. Even though a porcelain bowl smashed against her forehead, blood gushing out, Shu Wanyi still didn't answer. The quieter she was, the more terrified Zhao Yunyan became. You bitch! What kind of poison is it? Tell me, you bitch! After who knows how long, she lifted her head and spoke, also with a smile. So you can feel fear too. You are insane. Zhao Yunyan suddenly spotted me, as if grasping at a lifeline. Jenner, you interrogate this slut. I didn't interrogate her, just sat quietly and listened. I had already guessed what poison it was, and I also knew she had many things she wanted to say to Zhao Yunyan. Words she had wanted to say long ago, but Zhao Yunyan would never listen. Brother Yunyan, a few days ago, my father died. You knew that, right? But the next day you still wanted to sleep with me. I was so scared, kneeling like a dog to let you have me. Ever since you tricked me out of my body when I was 10, telling me no one would want me if I wasn't with you, I started being afraid. From then on. When you wanted me to obey, I obeyed. When you wanted to sleep with me, I hurried to lie down. Even when I was sick, and you wanted me, I endured the pain. I forced myself to love you. I used to think you just didn't understand how to be considerate, but later you forced yourself on Lee Jenner. She is different from me. She has a temper. She ignores you, so you apologize and make amends to her. You treat her like a person. That is when I understood. It is not that you don't understand. You just treat me like a fool. From her words, I pieced together the story of a girl who was seduced by her childhood sweetheart, lost her innocence, and was coerced by fear into following him. 9-year-old Shu Wanyi greatly admired Zhao Yunyan, this older brother figure. She looked forward to seeing him in her father's study, hoping he would praise her for being cute when they met. If she were a bit greedier, Shu Wanyi wished he would pat her head and notice that she had grown taller again. Zhao Yunyan did notice. She had not only grown taller, but her waist had become slimmer too. In a secluded spot, Zhao Yunyan read old Wen's lyrics with her, reciting the line about lovesickness seeping into the bones. He wrapped his arms around her and slid onto her wrist, a red bean bracelet he had polished by hand. In an instant, Shu Wanyi's face flushed deep red, like a cluster of grape blossoms just budding on the vine, forced to ripen into wine overnight. Later, on the night of her 10th birthday, under the grape trellis, her brother figure slipped his hand under her skirt. Breathing heavily, he admired her crying and laughing, admired her face forced to mature before she had time to grow up. Why are you crying? Didn't Wanyi say she wanted to marry me? I love you too much, Wanyi. I just love you too much. Shu Wanyi didn't understand. Was this kind of love the same as her love? She didn't understand, only feeling as if she were sinking and floating in water. She clutched that red bean bracelet tightly, desperately telling herself that she loved him too, as if that could save her. In stockinged feet she treads the fragrant steps, gold-threaded shoes in hand. For this slave, slipping out was hard, so let my lord cherish me as he pleases. He wiped his body clean, savoring how this amorous poem about stealing pleasures by the later lord was so good, so real. If it is so good and so real, then why does the phrase illicit union without a matchmaker even exist? Flowers bright, moon dim, shrouded in light mist. Tonight is perfect to go to my beloved's side. It wasn't that it was perfect to go to her beloved's side. She had no other path left. Back then when I got with you, I angered to death my mother who was the only one who loved me, and my father disowned me too. This time last year, I was so sick and in so much pain, you said. You said you couldn't do it and left. You said it is fine. Just turn off the lights and you won't see the blood. Did you truly love me, refusing to take a wife because you feared she would bully me? You said it so convincingly that even I was fooled. But no, you cared more than anyone cared about background, cared about matching social status. Don't think I didn't know. You and your mother had set your sights on the Lai family long ago. Xu Wanye had been kneeling for a long time, said so much, her body swaying on the verge of collapse. Like when midsummer arrives, the winter jasmine on the branches withers away. That Li Zhener is smarter than me. She has a proper title, she is not sincere. So she lives well. Even Wu Hongshu was smart. She died. She died at just the right time before she could be trampled by you. Everyone in this Zhao manor is smart. Only I am a fool. Only I am a fool. As she said this, she suddenly sat on the ground and began to sob. It wasn't concubine Shu crying. It was 10-year-old Xu Wanye crying. Xu Wanye was locked up. Zhao Yunyan remained silent for a long time before speaking. I thought he was going to feel guilty or repent. Zhao Yunyan grabbed my hand, his voice hoarse. It wasn't deception. At 10 years old, she understood everything. She knew the Zhao family was wealthy, so she was half crying, half laughing, and quite enjoyed it. Understood everything. Half crying, half laughing, and quite enjoyed it. The offering fruits on the table, it turned out, were rotten through, even on the outside. Zhao Yunyan was truly afraid of death. First, use all the tortures on her, find out what poison it is. Replace all these medicines with new ones. Burn everything she has touched. He was terrified, afraid that even the air in Yangxia Pavilion was poisonous. Strangely, after he moved out of Yangxia Pavilion, his illness only grew worse. The imperial physician said the poison had seeped into his marrow. He had only days to live. A concubine poisoning her husband. Such a violation of moral principles alarmed the imperial court. The emperor was naturally furious and wanted to have Xu Wanye, who poisoned her husband, executed by slow slicing. But Xu Wanye had already bashed her head to death, the very night she was imprisoned. It was a very clear day. Zhao Yunyan knew he wouldn't survive. On his deathbed, there were many things he couldn't let go of. He instructed in a voice as faint as a thread. The boudoir poems he had written. He wanted me to compile them into a collection after his death, signed with the name, Scholar, Ting Shui. In his entire life, the one thing he couldn't make peace with was that his talent had been overshadowed by his elder brother who died young. He believed he had never been seen, never been acknowledged. Under his longing gaze, I did as he wished, and took the poems down from the shelf. Right in front of him, I tore them out page by page, and slowly threw them into the brazier. Page by page. He couldn't believe it, struggling with his last breath to grab them. Yet he was already too weak to even lift a finger. Whether it is poetry or calligraphy, Zhao Yunyan, you really are mediocre. It is a pity your brother died of illness at 20. That prose became his swan song. Even I admired his talent from my boudoir. People are right, Zhao Yunyan. You really are inferior to him in every way. He desperately tried to snatch those painstaking works he had racked his brains and wrung his guts to create. But he could only grasp the flying ash above the brazier. Xu Wanyi confessed. She told us what poison she gave you. He suddenly looked at me, full of hope. But I think, if you die at 30, when people mention my husband, they'll at least sigh about you dying young. Or speculate that if you'd lived a bit longer, perhaps you would have been a late bloomer, no less than your brother. Otherwise, living a mediocre life until 80. Still unremarkable, the world would forget Zhao Yunyan. He wanted to curse me, wanted to pick up the medicine bowl beside him and smash it in my face. But he no longer had the strength. He lay on the bed, staring fixedly at the bed curtains. I really wanted to tell Zhao Yunyan that when he died with his eyes open, His expression was also half crying, half laughing. That rosary P bracelet he gave Xu Wanyi in their youth had been ground into powder, a deadly poison. It is a pity Xu Wanyi only used half, failing to poison him to death in one go. Then it should be fine if I go down one more time, right? Xu Wanyi, Zhao Yunyan, old Madame Zhao. 3 people in the family dying at the same time, handling joyous occasions and funerals together. It is really quite a busy matter. I need to keep crying until I collapse from exhaustion. Those who came to offer condolences at the Zhao residence included both men and women. The men sighed incessantly. Without a man, how is this woman going to get by? Look at how she is crying, not knowing what to do. Truly a deeply devoted couple. How pitiful, at such a young and beautiful age she has to live as a widow. The women also sighed, sighing quietly. Such good fortune. Only married for a short while, and she has already gotten rid of 2 concubines without anyone noticing, and even got 2 children. Oh right, her husband and mother-in-law are dead too. What great luck. What good luck or good fortune, it is good tactics. This is the proper bearing of noble ladies like us, being the mistress of the house. Kneeling before the spirit tablets, I often think, when those mistresses of the house mention tactics for controlling husbands and managing concubines, is it really all out of pride? Is the victory that the mistresses believe in truly a victory? Even if a woman laughs last, she still sacrifices her youth and life as nourishment, letting her husband's family multiply and prosper, thriving evermore. The gentle and understanding Xu Wanyi never got the chance to understand that what happened when she was 10 was clearly not her fault. The bright and radiant Wu Hongxue should have had her own world to soar in, instead of being besieged at Geisha. They would never have another chance. Yet the Zhao household still had heirs to carry on. Taoist rites and sutra chanting. The coffin rested, then raised. On the day of burial, it rained again. Spirit money and rain fell in flurries, blurring the boundary between heaven and earth. I stood outside the Marquise's manor, turning back to look. The courtyard deep and layered, the corridors dim and secluded. Between heaven and earth was nothing but chaotic gray and white. Only the crimson main gate of the Zhao mansion stood starkly amid the chaos. Like a man eating mouth, like a beast sated on blood. It devoured the gentle and understanding Xu Wanyi, devoured the fresh and radiant Wu Hongxue. The one who escaped death after staring into the abyss, still fed half her heart to the beast. How laughable. I clearly disliked Wenbacha's lyrics the most. Yet now I actually find his poetry fitting for the occasion. Wutong trees, midnight rain, unaware that parting grief runs so bitter. Leaf by leaf, drop by drop, dripping on empty steps until dawn.